I don't think there was a more disappointing team in the 2024 NFL season than the New York Jets. I sipped the Kool-Aid too. I was in on the Jets. I picked them to go to the AFC Championship game, and I was all in. And this team really crumbled, and they fired Joe Douglas. They fired uh, Robert Saleh. Now they've got Aaron Glenn coming in as the head coach. The general manager remains up in the air. Was kind of waiting for the head coaching hire to happen before I did this video. Aaron Glenn going to be the coach of the Jets. This is still a very talented roster. I don't want that to get lost in the smoke here because this was a disappointing season, yes. But I still think the Jets can compete and can potentially be a playoff team next year. We're going to be making the right moves and trying to get this team back to the top. But if you guys are new to this channel, we are doing a 7-round mock draft for every NFL team. The New York Jets have the 7th overall pick. This is the 7th episode of the series. We are going in draft order. If you do enjoy these videos, a like and a subscribe really helps me out. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, which I will leave linked down in the description. I will reference my big board multiple times throughout this video. If you guys want access to that, that is available for just $5 a month over on my Patreon. It's truly one of the best resources I can offer you guys, and I really recommend it if you enjoy my NFL draft content. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of the mock. Do you like it? Do you not? And let's go ahead and get into this with the New York Jets. So for those of you that are newer around here, the way we are doing this, I'm not taking the same player twice. So Abdul Carter, Will Johnson, Tetairoa McMillan, they're all off the board in this scenario. Abdul Carter would be the pick, but I took him already. So we're sitting here at number 7, and there's some really good talent on the board. I love Mason Graham. We'll come back to that one. The Jets could definitely look to improve the offensive line. I really like Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell down the board. Will Campbell, I guess, fell off the board earlier. Jalen Walker is a player I've heard some talk about potentially being in play here. Shamar Stewart is a player that could get some love, but we mentioned Mason Graham, and this is one of my 5 blue chip prospects in this class at the defensive tackle position. This Jets team on the interior was really rough. Quentin Williams, excellent season, but outside of that, you didn't get very much from Javon Hargrave. You didn't get very much from Solomon Thomas. Those guys are likely out the door, and you need to fill the interior of this defensive line, which really struggled to stop the run last year. Mason Graham is a very good defensive line prospect. He is 6'3", 318 pounds, incredible explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. He's got balance, can win with his upper body strength. He's got a good bull rush. He can beat double teams. He's really good at shedding blockers as a pass rusher. He might not be the longest player in the world. His length is a bit questionable to me, and I do think balance can be a bit of a concern. But this is a guy that could go number 1 overall in this draft. I think he is a Jalen Carter level defensive tackle prospect. I think he's that good. His tape last season was out of this world. Dealt with some injuries, but this is a player that I am 100% considering taking here at number 7. And for a defensive-minded coach like Aaron Glenn, I think Mason Graham makes all the sense in the world to help shore up the interior of this defensive line. So Mason Graham is going to be my pick at 7. So a really interesting trade came across my desk that I really like. We're going to move back 10 spots in this draft. We're going to give up a 5th rounder in 2026, but we're going to be getting number 52 and number 83. The Steelers want to move up for a prospect in this class. That's totally fine by me. I'm going to move back, pick up an extra 3rd round pick, and continue to add draft capital to this team. I think this is a no-brainer trade for the Jets. Back on the clock here at 52. Do want to correct something I said earlier. I said Javon Hargrave. I meant Javon Kinlaw. We all can misspeak from time to time. But we're on the clock here at 52. Safety is a big need for the Jets. It's been a need for the Jets for the last few seasons, to be completely honest with you. Ashton Davis, free agent. Chuck Clark is also a free agent. They've got 3 free agents on the safety room, Isaiah Oliver being the 3rd one. The safety position is one that the Jets just need to address here. You need a ball hawk on the back end. Your corners are elite in Sauce Gardner. I guess DJ Reed's a free agent right now and doesn't look like he will be coming back. I'm going to be looking to add a safety to this room, and a prospect that is growing on me a little bit. He's not my favorite player in the world, but is a good player. He's the number 45 overall prospect. That's going to be Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame. 5'11", 204 pounds. This guy is an absolute ball hawk, though. The amount of interceptions he's been able to rack up on the back end has been huge for Notre Dame. I believe he had 5 interceptions last year. I think he topped that with another 4 or 5 interception season this year. The closing speed is absolutely remarkable, probably the best in this class. He's very sound in coverage. He's got fluid hips, can play man-to-man if you need him to. I don't think he's a great tackler. Don't think he's a great run defender, but you've got guys that can do that in the linebacking room and the interior. You need a guy on the back end to help with coverage. I think Xavier Watts is a perfect fit for this defense. You need a guy that could be a versatile chess piece in the secondary. I think Watts can be that. He might go higher than this in real life, but based on my board, based on the consensus board, I think this is great value for Xavier Watts at 52. Here at number 83, I want to get an edge rusher for the Jets. Will McDonald, big-time riser this season. Jermaine Johnson, I'm still a big Jermaine Johnson guy. Hassan Reddick's a free agent, and with the way this season went, I really don't see how he comes back this season. I didn't think he was that great for them when he was on the field, and not really worth taking. I would consider going corner, but I just don't love the value on some of these guys. Dalen Everett, I don't really think fits the scheme super well. Quincy Riley is kind of the player I'm taking. I just think it's too early. I'm looking at the other Louisville player in Louisville's edge rusher, Ashton Gelati. I know people are going to see Kyle Kennard and Donovan Ezeraku on here. I just don't think they're going to be on the board here, to be quite honest with you. I got second-round grades on both of them. I just don't see it. Ashton Gelati, though, I definitely could see being on the board here. He is currently sitting at, where do I have him on my big board? Give me 1 second here. He's currently sitting on my number 63 overall player, so I'm a little bit higher on Gelati than a lot of people, but he's my edge 13. I think this edge class is incredible. 6'3", 275 pounds, shows the ability to play 4-3 edge, 3-4 defensive end. He can kind of play in a variety of different alignments, and he's shown that at Louisville. Great first step off the line of scrimmage. I don't think he's got elite athleticism after the first step, but one of the best power rushers in this draft class. He's got strength. He's going to be able to run guys over, and that's what you love about him. The bend, the athleticism, the twitch, maybe not all the way there, but what he brings as a run defender, what he brings in it as a power rusher is really some of the best in the draft class. I'm a huge fan of Ashton Gelati. I think he makes a lot of sense here to the Jets as kind of a thunder to your lightning of Will McDonald. He kind of fits the scheme pretty well. I'm assuming Glenn is going to go to his 4-3 scheme. In that case, I think Gelati is a perfect fit there. I'm going to take him here at number 83. Another trade here that I quite like, the Miami Dolphins are wanting to trade up 6 spots. They're willing to give me 155. Totally fine taking on an extra 5th rounder in this class to move back 6 spots. Again, one of these deals that kind of feels like a no-brainer to me. Here at number 98, I wanted to go with Will Howard if he was on the board. He's not, and I just don't really think quarterback is going to be the pick here. We are going to look at the tight end position, though. This is a position that has really, I feel like, plagued the Jets for a number of years. They just don't have a great tight end. Tyler Conklin is a free agent this upcoming season. You're going to need to upgrade that spot, as well as Kenny Yeboah. He's also a free agent. So you need to upgrade the tight end spot. And Mason Taylor on the board at 98, really interesting player to me. He does profile best as a receiving tight end, which I kind of think is what this team needs. Played in line, but he can show the ability to play kind of in the slot, which I do quite like for him. Good speed, has really nice shiftiness, knows how to get open for the tight end position. I think he's also got really good size, 6'6", 253 pounds, got NFL bloodlines. I believe Jason Taylor is his father. So you kind of love that about him. Not really a blocking tight end. That's not his strength. I don't think he's great as a physical ball winner and contested catch opportunities, but I think the Senior Bowl could be a big deal for him. If he performs well at the Senior Bowl, I definitely could see a world where he rises up draft boards pretty significantly. I currently have him as a 4th round prospect, but kind of in this sort of range. I think he's a good tight end prospect, and I love the value here for what the Jets need. Got him at number 123 on my board. I'm totally fine here as a position in need, taking him 25 spots higher than where I've got him at number 98. The Dolphins really want to make some moves happen today, and they're wanting to move up six more spots again, pick up 209. So we're going to make this trade. We are going to trade the Dolphins, pick 108 and pick 209. We're going to get back pick 114 and pick 150, continuing to add to fifth round picks. If I can turn a pick in the 200s into a pick at 150, I'm making that move 10 times out of 10. I think this is great value. I love this trade back for the Jets here. On the clock at number 114, I really want to go with a wide receiver here. I think that just continuing to add weapons on this offense is going to be important. Now, it looks like Aaron Glenn wants to keep Rodgers, wants to keep Devontae Adams. That's great. You got Garrett Wilson, you got Devontae Adams. Who's going to be that third weapon in this offense for you? And a player that I really, really like in this draft class is actually going to be TCU's Jack Bech. I'm way higher on Jack Bech than this. I've got a second round grade on him. I think he's going to be a big time riser. Now, prayers and condolences to the Bech family. If you didn't know, Jack's brother Tiger, he did pass away, unfortunately, in the tragedies that took place in New Orleans on New Year's Day. So prayers out to him. But as a football player, Jack Bech is absolutely incredible. Reminds me of Puka Nacua, to be completely honest with you. Sharp, smooth route runner that creates separation at a really high rate. Reliable hands. Really strong after the catch as well. Can make plays happen. He's hard to tackle. He's a good blocking receiver. You worry about the lack of production outside of 2024. Maybe not the greatest athlete in the world, but as a guy that can just get open across the middle, be a reliable target for whoever the quarterback is in New York next year. I think Bech makes a ton of sense here. He's one of my favorite prospects in the class. A tackle would have been a position I considered here. Ernest Green, not a big fan of. Chase Lunt, don't really think he fits what the Jets want to do. Yes, he could play right tackle, but he fits best in a wide zone rushing scheme. I think this might be a little bit early for him. So I'm going to go with Bech. I like Lunt a lot. We'll see kind of how the board falls. Maybe we trade back up for Chase Lunt if he still falls, but I'm going to take Jack Bech here at number 114. All right, I mentioned we might trade up again because there's some guys falling that I really would like on this team. I'm going to do that here. The Eagles, we're going to trade up from 145 to 128. So we're going to trade 145 and 150 for 128 and 167, just moving back a little bit in the fifth round and picking up a little bit of extra value here. I think there's a fair trade for both sides. I'm going to be back on the clock here at 128. And the reason I wanted to move back up here at number 128 was to take Chase Lunt, the right tackle out of UConn. Olufashanu showed some really good strides as a rookie. I loved what I saw from him at the left tackle position. The right tackle position was up and down. I'm all for bringing back Morgan Moses for another year or so if you are the Jets. Chase Lunt is an interesting one, though. I really like Chase Lunt as a prospect in the right scheme. I've got him as my number 99 overall prospect in the class. However, he's the number 110 player on the consensus big board. I could see him falling because he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's 6'7", 299 pounds, really small for a tackle. But my gosh, this guy is an unbelievable athlete in wide zone. If you get him in space as a move blocker, this guy is just as athletic as Mason Taylor, and I'm not exaggerating that point. As a run blocker in space, he's absolutely phenomenal. He's got the ideal length to play tackle, and I think he shows upside as a pass protector. He's a really good athlete that's light on his feet. He doesn't get beat to his outside shoulder a ton. You'd like to see him improve his anchor and improve against power and just get bigger. But if you bring back Morgan Moses and you draft Chase Lunt to be this developmental right tackle of the future, I really like what you have there. I think this is good value for Lunt. I'm going to take him here at 128. Here at number 155, I'm going to take a quarterback here, just a developmental guy that I hope can be a potential long-term quarterback solution for me. And I'm looking at Kyle McCord from Syracuse. I really don't know where the league is going to value him. I currently have him as my QB4, which I know sounds crazy. And this is coming from a guy that didn't have him in his top 20 this offseason. What Kyle McCord did at Syracuse this offseason was absolutely fantastic. 6'3", 215 pounds, just incredible arm talent. This guy looked really passive at times for Ohio State last year. That's the only way I can put it. He looked scared to push the ball down the field. This year, Fran Brown and that Syracuse staff, they're just like, let it rip. And he put together one of the best seasons in ACC history and looked like a completely different player than what we saw at Ohio State. You like to see him just continue to improve. I don't think he's going to start day one as a rookie. I don't think most of these guys are going to start day one. But as a guy that has shown improvement year after year after year, he's got arm talent, he's got athleticism, he's still relatively young for the position. I think the future is very green for Kyle McCord with the upside that he showed this past year at Syracuse. I'm going to take him here at 155, and I'm going to hope that he can develop to be a quarterback that I feel confident in post Aaron Rodgers. At number 156, I want to go with another corner. We mentioned DJ Reed, the pending free agency. You're going to need to address the cornerback position sooner rather than later. I like Quantez Stiggers as a guy that they drafted last year quite a bit. I think he's going to develop really nicely for them. But you got to go get another guy. And a player I'm actually going to take is down the board a little bit. That's going to be Jason Marshall out of Florida. This was a guy that last year was getting like first-round buzz had he come out, dealt with injuries. He slipped down draft boards, but the tools are still there. I think he shows really good upside from the cornerback position. He's got good size. He's 6'1", 203 pounds. So a guy that I could trust to play on the boundary. He's got some physicality, showed some good hand usage and press man coverage, and showed a nice punch. But I think he's a really good player in zone coverage. I think that's where he flashed the most upside, showed ball skills, closing speed, and he can also come downhill and defend the run, which I really liked because he isn't the fastest guy in the world. He doesn't have the blazing speed to play one-on-one with a lot of these guys, but I really like what he shows. He needs to improve as an overall consistent tackler, but the upside's there. I think he's going to be a starting boundary corner in the NFL, and if you get that at 156, if he can be healthy, I think that's really good value. I think with his athleticism or his ability to close quickly, his ability in zone coverage, his IQ, I think he's a good bet here. I'm going to take Jason Marshall at 156. Here at number 167, I want to go with the linebacker. CJ Mosley is a guy that a lot of people are saying could be a potential cut candidate, which would make a lot of sense if the Jets want to save a little bit of money this free agency. But also, Jameen Sherwood is also a free agent. He was absolutely fantastic for the Jets this year. I think they should do everything in their power to bring him back. But if you're unable to do that, you've got to look to upgrade the linebacker spot. And we're going to go with one of my guys in this class, a guy I've wanted to take for the last few mocks. Didn't end up working out, but at 187, I think the value is actually pretty fair for him. I'm going to go with Tyreen Powell, the linebacker out of Rutgers, one of my favorite players in this class, despite having a significant injury history. I believe he had a torn Achilles that he had suffered last year, and he's not really the greatest athlete in the world anyway. So I don't really know that his, I guess, injury history concerns me because he isn't the greatest in terms of change of direction. He doesn't have great speed, but the guy is one of the best run-defending, tackling linebackers that you're going to find in this entire draft class. 6.4% missed tackle rate in 2023, one of the best in college football. He's got physicality, but most of all, I think he's got really good instincts. He's got the ability and coverage to play one-on-one. You can use him as a blitzer, which Rutgers did quite a bit. He's 6'5", 240. He's got great height, but he's also got incredible length for the linebacker position. I just think Tyreen Powell is a good linebacker that is just flying under the radar in a lackluster class, and I'm not really sure why that is. He's got the talent. He's got the athleticism, or he's got the tools, I should say. He's got the ability to make plays happen towards the football. So I'm going to take him here at number 167. I think this is great value, and he could be a linebacker that can give you significant playing time. Our final pick here is at number 187. A couple of different ways I want to go, but I do want to take a interior presence, a guy that can be a rotational guy along the offensive line. Seth McLaughlin was a guy I was looking at. I don't think he's going to fall this far in real life. Yes, he's coming off an injury. I just don't think he'll be on the board at 187. So we're going to go down the board a little bit, and we're going to take Gus Hartwig, the center from Purdue. I like Hartwig. He's got a Shrine Bowl invite. He's got good size for the center position, 6'5", 315. Probably a guy you could play at guard, just given his overall frame. Good upside as a pass blocker, though. Strong lower half, good anchor, good arm length, pretty powerful blocker, hits with a mean streak. I love all of those tools. Yet again, a guy that's not the greatest athlete in the world, and he struggled to get to the second level consistently. But what he can bring for you as a rotational guy in pass protection, I think it's a good bet here. I'm going to take Gus Hartwig at 187 and hope that he can be a guy that, whether it's at center or guard, can give me good, consistent minutes if there's an injury, which the Jets have seemed to consistently proven they can't stay healthy on the O-line. So we're going to take Gus Hartwig as our final pick at 187. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, my 7-round New York Jets mock draft. Improved the defense even more than what it already is, adding a bunch of players I love: Mason Graham, Ashton Gelati, Tyreen Powell. Improve the O-line by getting Chase Lunt and Gus Hartwig. Get a developmental quarterback in Kyle McCord, and get 2 legitimate pass catchers at tight end and wide receiver, and Jack Best, who I think could be a legitimate number 1 weapon in the NFL, which it would be a huge steal at 114. But Jets fans, I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you like this draft? Do you not like it? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.